When I say it was a stomp and they couldn't come back from 2 racks in, and Misery was saying, yeah, it's 25 minutes in, that's way too early for your 2 racks to be taken. That's that's just how the game is. I'm not gonna bullshit you and say that the game. Oh, they could. No, not. I just got to be honest with you guys. Game was sort of over at a certain point.
If you look at the average win times for most Dota matches, they're somewhere in like the 35 to 40 minute mark. That's across about 800 or so games, which some friendly guy named Bruno has actually been logging statistics of pretty much every pro game he can get scoreboards for, and the average win time is like 35 to 40 minutes. So if you're winning a game in 25 minutes, it's almost always going to be a stomp. And it sounds like that one was. I just want to mention here, if you're up against Quantic and you don't ban Morphling, Storm Spirit, or Tiny, I think you're crazy. The way Korok has been playing, that guy is out of control. But in fact, those 3 heroes, none of them get banned. And hey, to be honest, they're not normally considered top bans. Absolute Legends apparently not intimidated by Korok. They're going to go ahead and pick up a Leshrac to start things off. His best friend, Shadow Demon, is in the pool. We'll have to see if they're going to pair those 2 up.
Yeah, absolutely. They do have a couple different laning partners still left. We saw Chen Enchantress and Windrunner banned out by AL, Lycan, Furion, and Invoker banned out. And I still see the Brewmaster is still in potential pickup here, but we didn't see him last time, and I thought I was really disappointed. We're going to see Enigma and Shadow Demon picked up by Quantic. So like you said, there goes that laning partner that does go very well with Leshrac. There is still Sand King left, who is also a great laning partner, but I think a lot of teams would prefer Shadow Demon just because how good he is, how he scales into the late game. I mean, for a support hero, both his disruption and his soul catcher is just amazing all throughout the game. And he's definitely a big force in team fights, even though it is that late in.
Yes, think of Shadow Demon very much as like giving a free double damage. Well, not quite, but close to it for Leshrac, because that additional damage is pure, so it really stacks up quickly. He's also great setup, as we talked about, for that split earth. Really nice partner to have. I want to mention, with the Shadow Demon pick, it's not necessarily going to work out this way, but it hints at the fact that they might want to go for Morphling, because one of the best ways to deal with Morphling is to pick yourself up a Shadow Demon, and Disruption is a great way to save someone who's getting jumped on. It's also a really nice way to get 2 Morphlings of your own, and they hit pretty hard. If the Morphling gets fed, the Disruption illusions just hit that much harder. Sand King is the pick along with Broodmother. So a nice 1-2 punch there, and you just talked about it. The Sand King, good initiation along with the Leshrac to set him up. Also gives you some decent team fight, and the Broodmother as well. So by picking up that Sand King, they also deny one of the most common ways to deal with Brood. One of her most hated enemies, which is the Sand King. Queen of Pain is the reply.
Absolutely, and we were watching it yesterday, Kita. They picked up Darkseer quite a bit, and I'm wondering if we're going to see that as an answer. We still have some bans coming out, so it's definitely possible that AL is going to ban him out. But Darkseer is another hero that can go against Broodmother very, very well. He will do decently as well when you're talking about getting good black holes, grouping up heroes with that vacuum, and then hitting a really nice Queen of Pain ulti as well. That could just really crush team fights, but they are going to be a little squishy if they do go for that. I think if they do pick up the Darkseer, they're really going to have to go for a pipe and try and get some early team fight as much as possible. So otherwise, I think AL is just going to really start stomping with this Broodmother Leshrac, taking towers, taking over the map very quickly. We'll have to see how Quantic replies to that. We're going to see Beastmaster and Nightstalker banned out by AL, and then Priestess is going to be banned out by Quantic, and we're just waiting on their final ban before we kept going on. But have you been watching this tournament so far, LB?
I have caught a few of the games. Quantic has, with the Leshrac and the Edict being so great at bringing down towers, Morphling so difficult to kill off with his 4 escape mechanisms, and then normally he gets that Lincoln Sphere, and then it's 5 escape mechanisms at least. So difficult to kill them off, and they can slowly but surely just wear you down, split pushing all over the map. Storm gets picked up as well, so hey, Quantic bans out one of Korok's favorite heroes, and then Storm is picked up by AL. So all we're left with is the Tiny, and I'm curious, are they going to go that route? It would be pretty decent. It gives you some AoE, also gives you great burst damage, which is really something you want, as well as another disable. When you're up against a hero like Storm, you have to be able to burst him down, because if you don't, he will just run a train all over your team.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see even more team fight from Quantic being picked up. Tidehunter is going to be grabbed, so that's going to be a decent little pickup when it comes to the team fights. You can also address Broodmother in the laning phase once he gets a couple levels in Anchor Smash and some decent tankiness to him. I did try and fix up as much as possible the volumes. I'll keep checking in to see, but I've been slowly but surely lowering it and lowering it and lowering it and see what you guys say. But man, now we're just waiting on the final pickup from AL. And I like AL's lineup much more this time.
It's a pretty nice lineup for AL. It's very balanced. It's a very aggressive lineup overall. Once that Storm hits level 6, I mean, all bets are off if you're on Quantic's side. This early game laning phase is going to be crucial for Quantic because if they let the Storm get going, if they let the Broodmother get any kind of momentum, they're going to be in for a world of trouble. Now, that being said, if you take a look at Quantic's lineup, it's a very good defensive lineup. You have Disruption, so let's say Storm zips in on a hero. You can simply disrupt that hero or the Storm, and then they can easily get out of there. And then you can quickly turn around on the Storm. You've got Tidehunter Ravage, one of the worst spells to have to tower dive against. And generally a pushing lineup will be tower diving, or at least in tower range, as well as the Enigma, the Black Hole, a great way to counter-initiate. So Quantic has a decent lineup to deal with any sort of aggressive antics by Absolute Legends. I think it's really going to come down to positioning and the early laning phase. If they can get some kills off on the Leshrac, the Broodmother, and ideally the Storm, I see those as the 3 most crucial heroes to shut down early for Absolute Legends. I think Quantic will be okay, but if they have a bad start, this thing will snowball out of control real quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see Pugna picked up by AL, Bounty Hunter by Quantic, and I was expecting a different Invis hero being picked up by Quantic. I was expecting Riki, to be honest. I thought a little bit harder of a carry was going to be picked up, also because that Shadow Demon Riki combo is rather obnoxious. You set up that disruption, you hit a Great Cloud, and just the burst physical damage that comes out from Riki is rather ridiculous. So, oh, now I'm hearing it. I'm too low. So, see, that's why I was doing it slowly for you guys, so I could go back and forth a little bit. But you just keep getting me back.
They're keeping you on your toes, man. I like this Bounty Hunter pickup actually because what it gives Quantic is another source of income. And if you look at their lineup right now, they are pretty farm and gold dependent. Bounty Hunter definitely needs a lot of levels as well as farm to be effective after the early stages of the game. For a support hero, Shadow Demon definitely wants to get some items up, and more importantly, wants to get all his spells back. Of course, Queen of Pain and Tidehunter definitely benefit a lot from items and really would like to get them. And Enigma, as far as supports goes, ideally you want that Mechanism, that VKB, that Blink Dagger, at least 2 of those 3 items. So that takes a while to get all of those. And I like the Bounty Hunter pickup. It's going to give them that constant threat of Bounty Hunter showing up. He's always a +1 that you have to worry about, much like a Nature's Prophet or a Riki, which you just mentioned. So let's go ahead and introduce the players here real quickly. For Quantic, we have Solara on that Tidehunter. It looks like it will be a Boots of Speed Rush that suggests he will be soloing the Suicide lane. Last Hit Magic on that Enigma is going to be denying a creep from his lane and then probably rotating into the jungle. Painted Gold will be going mid on that Queen of Pain, not rushing a bottle. Interesting choice. Korok up top on the Bounty Hunter with the Stout Shield picked up. He will be farming in the safe lane, with Mikey supporting him, who's already picked up a pair of Sentry Wards, ready for any sort of camp warding shenanigans, as well as the Broodmother, who has already telegraphed the fact that she's top by placing down a web.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing, Bounty Hunter is going to be great versus that Broodmother. I mean, the speed coming out from her webs, on top of that, of course, being able to see her when she's in Viz. This is going to be really nice for them. I really like the Bounty Hunter pick as well. Really interesting. We haven't seen Bounty Hunter picked up very often. I'm interested to see what his skill build is going to be, or excuse me, item build is going to be on Bounty Hunter. If
you
he
just
chooses to
sorry
go.
to interrupt you, but yeah, I think you have the wrong overlay up.
Oh, dude.
Might have hit a hotkey by accident.
Yeah, we're good now. Every single time, and I swear that battle points thing. I don't think that works for spectators, but I could be wrong.
No, it definitely does not. But hey, it's a good way to promote yourself, right? So
yeah, I guess I didn't even think that was going to go through. But anyway, so it's interesting. I mean, Shatan's going to be able to do decently well at top. He's going to be able to CS decently. I mean, not much that Mikey can do. He's just going to be able to pop out, hit some Spiderlings, and not much. There goes the first counter ward, the first set of disruption. So he's going to be able to get a little harassment at first on Shatan. Hopefully the lane will be able to push for him. Otherwise, he's going to be a little bit out of luck for at least a couple minutes. Meanwhile, Musica versus Paint in middle. Storm Spirit versus Queen of Pain is sort of one of those classic 1v1 situations that we see quite often, where Queen of Pain is just going to be kind of winning the lane quite a bit up until the fact that Storm gets level 6, and then it'll even out a bit more just because Queen does have complete rune control with that early blink. Of course, Shadow Strike being able to do so much damage.
Austin,
it's
check
just
your
ridiculous.
overlay, please.
He did change it. I
got
believe
it.
there's
Yeah,
a delay on the stream.
We got it.
Painted Gold in the middle lane is going to have a big advantage over Musica. You mentioned Shadow Strike, such an obnoxious spell to deal with one-on-one. If you guys have not dealt with this as a Storm or any hero who doesn't have a way to disjoint that, either something like a Leap or a Windwalk, it is just so frustrating to play against. And I love the way that Painted Gold is keeping the creeps up on his side of the hill. This makes it exponentially more difficult for Musica. One of the problems also for Storm is that generally Storm needs to spam Remnants to get farm. Especially when he's up against a decent last hitter like Queen of Pain, who's a good animation, good base damage. But if you're pushing the lane, it's going to mean that you're on the low ground, and against Queen of Pain, that is a place you do not want to be. I am going to take a look at the bottom lane, where Bleak seems to be having a pretty decent times in terms of farm. Solara is getting some levels for now, but the camp was just stacked by Godot. Expect for those levels to not be quite as forthcoming once the pulls begin.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to be able to get his first pull right now, so he's going to start that. So hopefully they don't give up too much farm to Solara. Otherwise, especially with already having one level in Kraken Shell, he's going to be able to at least get a lot more golden experience just through tankiness and the fact that less... And I take it we dropped from the call, or at least I did.
Yeah, I think the call dropped, but it sounds like we're back, so... Back to the game, as long as you can hear me, I think we should be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looks like there is some pulling going on in the bottom lane. Nice job by Absolute Legends here. They're getting much needed farm. Now, as far as dual lane goes, Sand King and Leshrac is one of the most farm-dependent dual lanes. Both of these heroes need a lot of items to be effective, as well as levels, so I love the fact they're getting this pulling off. And one of the downsides to putting the Tidehunter here is there's nothing he can do about it. At best, he can sit in the lane to get some farm, but there's no way he's stopping those pulls. He's got the... It looks like he is maxing Anchor Smash first, very standard choice when you're playing a Tidehunter. He wanted to be matched up against the Broodmother from the looks of it, and unfortunately that's not the case. Likewise, the Broodmother is having a bad time up top, so I guess it's a pretty even trade, although Brood needs to farm a little more than Tide. All in all, seems to be a pretty even start to the game, and it looks like Snoopy is actually doing some... He's preparing to do some smoke jungling. Didn't someone do this the other day for your tournament?
I don't think so. At least maybe not a game that I was covering anyway.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it will be smoke jungling. So what he's going to do is hit level 3 and then smoke up and just spam Nether Blast to wipe out these stacked big camps, which will give him a lot of gold. It also frees up a lane, which, hey, they don't have a traditional jungler. Now, Ice Frog has apparently said that he considers this a bug and is planning on removing it. That was at least according to an interview that Complexity had recently with Draskell, one of their players, so they actually complained to Ice Frog about it. He said he's removing it. But for now, hey, if it's in the game, teams are going to use it. AL's certainly taking advantage for the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen it so many times with Darkseer. You even see Batrider occasionally do it. Just that, I really do agree. It's definitely a bug. It's much different than Dota 1 had. And so many heroes can jungle because of that. And it's just kind of ridiculous.
I mean, it's fun in pub games, right? Because normally your team picks a bunch of carries. There's no room for you to farm in a lane, so then you could pick something funny, like, or, you know, bad at laning, like a Pudge, and then do it anyway. But in pro games, it really skews the balance of things, and I think it sort of de-emphasizes the draft because you're not forced into picking heroes that you might otherwise need to. Hey, it's here for now, so that Absolute Legends is going to take advantage. Quantic is going to have to deal with it. Big dive on the bottom lane, so they have a lot of trouble. Down he goes.
Yeah,
nice
little is picked up by Storm Spirit.
Yeah, not often you see a Storm ganking that early on. It is only 5 minutes in, he's not level 6. But that was definitely a good rune to gank. And that kill is going to turn into a tower push. If you ever get a kill on Leshrac's lane, he will immediately turn it into a bunch of tower damage. So nice job, Absolute Legends. And this is a lane Tidehunter simply cannot afford to die in because the towers will go down quickly if he does.
Yeah, there's just really not a whole lot he can do. He's going to get another double stun. They're going to pick up the tower at least. Solara is going to be just fine, though. Actually, he's getting blocked quite a bit, and they're going to go for the dive here. Bleak is going to have a stun up in 1 more second. The stun does go off, and they finish him off. Bleak is going to be able to get outside of the tower range just in time. So nice little another pickup as well as a tower. 2-0. This bottom lane is just not doing so well for Quantic. You can't really give that up. I mean, Tidehunter can't do anything.
Up top,
what about that fast
disruption here. He's in a little bit of trouble. Malefice as well. Korok is on the chase. He's only level 4. Broodmother too fast. This is the difference between a Tidehunter and a Brood in the solo lane. Sure, Tidehunter is pretty tanky, but if you catch out the Brood, she can often just run away, whereas the Tide is not fast enough.
Mikey, the nuke comes out and he finishes off Mikey. Nice job by Shaitan, sneaking past the counter ward. They knew it. They could do absolutely nothing to stop it. Last State Magic in a little bit of trouble, but Shaitan does get turned around. Shuriken toss does go out. And so there it goes.
Last Hit Magic might die to these spiderlings. He's in a little bit of trouble here. He's getting low. Nice micro, and he is going to die. Oh, that's got to be frustrating, folks.
Yeah, I mean, how many times do you see that in a lane with a Broodmother in it, where the supports just get dove by spiderlings and they eventually do die? It's rather ridiculous and so incredibly frustrating as a support player to have that happen. We're going to see Haste on Queen of Pain. She's probably going to go bottom here. AL, she does not want to give up any more farm to those two. She's going to hop this Haste. They're going to jump in Solera. Epicenter does go off, and they're going to try and finish off Fleek, but Solera's going to go down. They're going to pick up 2 kills, though, in exchange for that. Paint needs to be able to get up. Oh, the counter kill goes up. Edict, which still is up after Leshrac dies, finishes off Painted Gold. He was not able to get out of the Ray in time. So 2-for-2 trade, definitely in the favor of AL there. They're definitely willing to trade a solo mid for those 2 bottom, as well as Solera. So very nicely done by AL.
It did cost them an Epicenter, but this early on, there's not going to be too many large-scale engagements, so it's totally fine to use an Epicenter for a single kill. I think the bigger concern for AL is knocking down all the exterior towers. They've already got the bottom earlier off the back of that gank. The other benefit is, even though that fight didn't go perfectly for them, it forces heroes away from the middle lane. You mentioned the Queen of Pain.
Korok, top, he's going to go down. Oh no! Shaitan, the nuke! Oh my goodness,
so
look how low he is.
While this is all going on, the mid tower did go down, and now the top tower is being pressured. Absolute Legends just constantly applying pressure to all 3 of these lanes, and Solaris has hit level 6 with that Ravage up. No TP scroll on him, or actually he does have it, but it's on cooldown, I should say. Looks like a big engagement about to break out top. Bleak is tracked, but Korok is quite low. He actually right-clicks a catapult. Don't think he meant to do that, and it might cost him his life. Spawn Spiderlings actually is on cooldown. Korok will be okay. Black Hole on 3. Last Hit Magic with a great Black Hole, but no follow-up. I think Last Hit Magic might go down here. Spawn Spiderlings will bring him down, and Mikey in a headlong retreat. Korok unable to do anything, and that TP scroll not being up on Solera just cost him at least 3 kills, and Mikey gonna die as well. Painted Gold finally joins the fight. Bleak desperately trying to find a place to escape into the trees, and it looks like he will be okay for now. Solera looking for an opening for the Ravage. He's not going to get it off just yet. Down goes the Queen of Pain, and it looks like Solera continues to retreat. Huge jump by Storm. He pulls in Solera at max rate. Solera Kraken Shell does proc. No Ravage being used. Solera dies too. Oh man, Absolute Legends in a commanding lead after a great set of ganks.
Absolutely. I mean, they're already 6,000 gold lead ahead. Now they're going to start going for a tier 2 already. 9 minutes in. They're just completely commanding this game. And I think this playstyle fits Absolute Legends much better than the previous game. The previous game, they were just pretty much throwing everything on the back of an Animage and trying to have him carry. And Quantic was in control of the map the whole entire time. And they lost pretty much every single lane. This time's Absolute Legends winning pretty much every single lane, except for middle, really, where Queen of Pain obviously does have a rather large advantage versus Storm Spirit.
Yep, that advantage is certainly large in the laning stage, but what has Painted Gold turned it into? If you take a look at the scoreboard, he's only 1-2-1, really not having that good of a time, and part of it is that he's just been forced off of that middle lane. He had to go help bottom. He got a little unlucky just dying to that Edict after the Shrek went down. Something that if you want to talk about things that maybe should be changed, I'm not going to necessarily rebalance Leshrac, but I would not mind seeing Edict stop if the hero dies. Painted Gold eats a Burrow Strike on the bottom lane. Split Earth to follow. So much damage. Painted Gold actually drops the ult and goes down. He could have blinked out there and chose not to. Godot dies as well. I suppose that is a good trade. No track. I don't think the track got off, so Korok's not going to get extra gold. He has opted for phase boots. It looks like it will be a drum next. This is a very standard bounty hunter build. You really want to maximize how hard those Janatas hit. And just get that extra monopool as well as the HP from the drum.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like that build on Bounty Hunter. I mean, it just gives so much movement speed to your team. And then after that, probably picking up a BKB, which is going to help out quite a bit out of all the magic damage that's coming out from AL. Shaitan getting really aggressive in his farming right now, pressuring top as much as possible, and then taking away the jungle, away from last hit magic, which he's going to be really feeling that. I mean, he went for that soul ring, and he should be able to farm relatively well up until the fact that Shaitan starts taking away the jungle away from him with all those spiderlings, and there's not much he can do about it without a team to come help gank the Broodmother, and it's going to be really hard.
This is what we talked about in the early game, was Absolute Legends' ability to really spread the map and pull Quantic apart. They just don't have the resources to kill enough heroes. Sure, if they could send 3 or 4 to go after the Brood, but if that happens, guess who's going to be pushing bottom? It's the Pugna as well as the Leshrac. Painted Gold's already set up towards bottom. Quantic very reliant on these big teamfight ults to actually get a bunch of kills, and that's really not the best way to go against a Brood. At least if you fall behind, it's not, because yeah, you might get the 1 kill, but then they're going to pressure you elsewhere, and you're not going to have what you need to take another fight. Korok is looking to go in. Painted Gold eats a Burrow Strike, Edict as well, and the nuke from Pugna, the ward zapping, just for good measure, and down he goes. Looks like this will be another tower push.
Yeah, AL just making use of every single gank that they get off, just keeps up the pressure, just like Quantic did last game. Very well done so far. AL taking a very commanding lead now, 10,000 gold lead. Korok is going to start setting up here. He already has track on Bleak. He's going to try going in there. I think they want to pop Godot here as fast as humanly possible, but the Edict is just doing way too much damage. They have vision. Korok is trying to get outside of that counter, and he's going to be just fine. Bleak going back in, hitting on Mikey, but now he's taking a lot of damage. Solaire is going forward. He does still have a Ravage. He pops the Ravage, hitting Snoopy as well. Oh no, Korok is getting caught out here. He's going to go down. Solaire trying to save him. The Pugna ult does finish him off, and now Solaire is trying to get out, but he's going to go down. Last Take Magic trying to get out as well. The Storm Spirit, though, does have the mana, but he did not try and continue to chase along with his teammates. So they do at least pick up the tower as well as 3 kills. Nobody goes down. Everybody got very, very low there, and the whole entire time, Shaitan just farming up top and the jungle as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you caught this on the camera. There was so much going on in that fight, but great play by Mikey. I want to give him a shout out there as he did disrupt the Sand Key immediately after the Epicenter was channeled and it was going off. Sand Key was prepared to Burrow Strike directly into 2 or 3 heroes. Instead, he was stuck in the trees doing nothing. So really heads up play by Mikey, and that is the power of a Shadow Demon. But even with that Epicenter not hitting, just look how strong AL is. The gold lead heavily in their favor. It's not just about the raw difference. Sure, 10,000 sounds like a lot, but this early, that's almost, I want to say it's like 60-70% more gold at least. Huge lead for Absolute Legends, and they are taking advantage. And speaking of that lead, what's the item progression looking like for them? Snoopy, despite jungling all game, getting very close to that mechanism. In fact, he's got it now. So at 900 gold to the bank, man, Snoopy is very farmed. This is what happens when you get early towers. Shaitan working towards an Orchid. Musica, nothing much on him. Looks like he's going for the quick Bloodstone Rush. The G build, if I say it. Don't say so myself.
Absolutely. We're going to see Musica pick up a nice little invis, so that's going to be very helpful. 15-6, 14 minutes in. And by the way, guys, I did turn up the volume once again on myself. That was a couple minutes ago. So we'll hopefully that'll be nice if that actually, evens out eventually.
Yeah, definitely hard to troubleshoot with that delay.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, man, they just have to put a stop to Shaitan right now. He's going to be picking up Orchid here very, very shortly, and that's going to be really, really rough. I mean, if they can ever get vision of Korok and keep him down, just burst him down really quickly, and even Queen of Pain as well as Tidehunter, all of their heroes are going to be feeling it from Orchid if Broodmother's able to catch him out. Snoopy, though, at bottom might be in a little bit of trouble, but I think he's going to be okay even with Korok there. He just does have that amazing life drain, so against a melee hero like Korok, I think he should be just fine. He has to watch out for the Shuriken Toss, which will interrupt that, though. And he just throws away a nuke and backs up a little bit. Korok getting a little aggressive here, but not really a whole lot he can do to try and finish up that kill.
When you pick Bounty Hunter, this is not the situation that you envision, right? Because you expect to be the team that's getting the kills, the team that's on the offensive. But you can't really fault Korok's play. It's just they've been on the back foot all game long. A few slight mistakes and just the raw pushing power of Absolute Legends.
Oh,
really
the mech.
forcing their hands.
Korok trying to keep, he just keeps going on Snoopy and trying. He finally forced him to use Life Drain, so it's on cooldown. But the mech and the nukes coming out from Snoopy are just way too strong. There's nothing they can do about it. Top! Last hit magic hitting a 2-man black hole. Nice job. Huge play. Saving Solaire potentially. Nice little disruption as well. Trying to keep the Broodmother back. Bleak barely getting out. He does have poison on him. It's going to be able to finish him off. Last hit magic had vision of him just because of that. And they pick up 2 kills in exchange for the Shadow Demon. Musica now jumping on Painted Gold. Painted Gold is going to go down here with an Edict from Godot. Nice little stun as well. So AL trading 2 for 2 now, and most importantly, did pick up the Queen of Pain, which is a decent little exchange in exchange for a very farmed Broodmother.
And frankly, I have to question Korok's decision to sit in this bottom lane. Where was he in that engagement top? Simply pressing R and clicking out of here would have given them a lot of additional gold. Snoopy in some trouble here. It looks like he will be going down to Korok, but maybe not just yet. That life drain, but the Anchor Smash just enough to clean him up. Korok so low. Finally getting a track kill going his way, so that's something. Still, if you look at the map, all of the creeps, all of the lanes being heavily pushed in the mid-tier 2 under absolute siege now. Absolute Legends keeping map control firmly in their favor, and this is what great teams do. When you knock down those towers, you follow it up with an aggressive net of wards to trap your opponents, track their movements, and force them to smoke gank if they want to leave their base.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like Absolute Legends is fully committing to this push. I mean, Broodmother's been feeding Spiderlink in exchange for doing chip damage on that top tower. 500 health. Down to 500 health already on a tier 3, 16 and a half minutes in. That is really rough. All right, I'm getting some word about the audio, which I have no idea what that says, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to turn my own volume up a little bit, as apparently I am too quiet now as well. So
I'm just going to turn it up just a touch.
Oh, it is. Sound issues have to be one of the most difficult things to troubleshoot, especially with that 2-minute delay. So hard to tell if it's going to work. But hopefully it will be fixed for you guys soon enough, and if it's not, we'll definitely get it fixed before game number 3. Korok is denying some creeps up on the bottom lane. He has picked up that Drums of Endurance. In terms of other item progressions, Bleak had a Blink Dagger. He picked it up in the last fight. I also don't know if you noticed this, but there was a gem dropped by Bleak, who picked up a very early gem. Another component to really pincering in their opponents is dewarding. The gem's so great for that. Also nice for the Bounty Hunter to see when he's trying to initiate. So Korok just completely being shut down in really every respect. The Glyph is force mid. It looks like Absolute Legends will back off. This tower will most likely be denied. But with that tower denied, the map control decreases that much more. Bleak waiting in the wings, Epicenter ready to go as well as that flank.
Yeah, really nice job popping that Glyph right as Pugna throws out the nuke to finish off the tower. So they do at least get the deny and try and put some sort of stop to this monster gold lead that the Radiant has. Over 10,000, 18 minutes in. This just feels like the roles are being reversed now. Not quite as much as a stomp as last game. There's definitely Quantic still has a lot of breathing room where they can come back in as they're setting up to go on Shaitan here. Already setting up a ward, but there goes the Spiderlinks. They do see the 2 heroes in the side jungle. And so Shaitan probably going to be a little bit more careful. We're even going to see TPs in. Bleak and Snoopy are already setting up Solera. Shaitan is kind of getting baited in here. Nice little Orchid stopping Solera's ultimate. And they're going to see a nice, huge stun by Bleak, hitting a nice 2-man stun. But there goes the Ravage, stopping the Epicenter. No, the Epicenter does go off, doing a bit of damage. Black Hole getting finished off. Snoopy finishes off. Oh my goodness, now they're chasing. Solera is going to try and teleport away. Nice job. He's going to get away from that. And man, nice little pickup. AL trading 1 for 2 there, baiting out their Broodmother. Unfortunately, she did go down, but they did finally grab the Bounty Hunter as well as the Enigma there.
Black Hole and a Ravage, and they got the Bounty Hunter. I think they'll be pretty pleased with that fight. Sure, they used the Epicenter, but if you look at Quantic's lineup, they're very reliant on those big AoE ultimates. They do have the Queen of Pain Sonic Wave to work with, but without a Black Hole and a Ravage, Absolute Legends could maybe even look to go high ground here, or if not go high ground, it's a good time to look towards Roshan. They do need to push out the lanes, and Painted Gold is doing his best to prevent that. Musica may be looking to pull him here. Is he going to? He is going to pull. I'm not sure he has enough damage to bring him down by himself. And actually the silence. And it looks like Painted Gold will drop to a nice burrow strike. Not sure who Oh, Shaitan did it. Man, that Orchid has a really long range. I thought that was Storm silencing, but he did not have his Orchid yet. Nice job. Good coordination by AL. And this is the problem when you lose those outer towers. There's just no backup. The early Orchid's going to make Queen of Pain's life so difficult.
Yeah, I love the number of Orchids that they're grabbing. This is great. I mean, it's just messing with Quantic so much because Orchid just messes with every single one of their heroes so incredibly well. And it looks like they are going to start pushing in middle and trying to do some work there. Spiderlings are going to do last hit magic, even setting down the first level of Midnight Pulse to do some sort of nuking, a little bit of damage over time. But there's just not much they can do here. The tier 3 is going to go down. Disruption goes off, but it's not going to do a whole lot. And the tower does go down without even forcing a fight. And there's nothing they can do here. They're just setting track on these heroes, but they have to force something before the racks go down. They're just going to keep coming back in, throwing down Snoopy's nuke, which does really good damage, about 100 damage to these buildings, and just doing little pecks and chips at this melee racks until it's eventually going to fall.
It's a slow and steady siege, but it might be a little bit too slow and steady as Solera's ult is very close to cooling down. Absolute Legends continued continuing to commit to this push. It looks like Pugna is just going to keep on another blasting. Nice burrow strike initiation. Enigma just melts to that. And with Enigma dead, I'm not sure Quantic could do anything to defend this. The ult is dropped by Painted Gold, but down he goes to a long-range lightning. Absolute Legends looking so strong. Musica zips in, picks off a Shadow Demon who does not have time to disrupt himself, and the rain tracks sure to follow shortly. And after that goes down, I guess we'll see a transition into Roshan. I doubt they're going to go for top racks, but as I say that, they have different plans. GG go next is the call. Great play by Absolute Legends. And coming back nicely, tied up the series 1-1 as we go into game number 3.
Yeah, both games pretty much ending around the 20-minute mark. This is just insane. One stomp against the other. Hopefully game 3 will be a bit longer, but we do get our wish in the fact that it's now tied up 1-1, and hopefully, again, I just kind of hope that they leave so I can get to this scoreboard screen so you guys can see that and we can transition into the next game.
Yeah, it looks like Quantic just going to collect a couple more kills, pad their stats as Storm does go down. And Absolute Legends completely disconnected from the game, and Korak will be leaving now. So, a nice and a very convincing win for Absolute Legends. The split push worked to perfection. The jungle Pugna was never pressured because if you look at Quantic's lineup, they just didn't have the heroes to do it. I suppose they could have thrown Enigma into the offensive jungle. And I'm starting to wonder, if you know the enemy team has a jungler who's just stacking that camp and smoke jungling, why not gank him? I've seen this quite a few times. We've seen Navi do it with a Storm. I think they've done it with a Juggernaut and a Shadow Demon as well as a Pudge. Puppey usually playing that smoke jungling role. Teams don't punish it, and until they do, teams are going to keep on doing it.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to be right back. I'm going to try and fix some of those audio levels once again. And there's a scoreboard, and then we'll just take a short little break while we start up the new game, and we will be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere.